The first quantum consciousness transfer wasn't meant to happen. Dr. Sarah Chen had been working on quantum entanglement communication for the better part of a decade at the Quantum Research Institute, trying to find ways to transmit data instantaneously across vast distances. What she discovered instead would change the course of human history. The lab hummed with the familiar sound of quantum computers as Sarah adjusted the neural interface helmet. Another failed test, she thought, watching the quantum state readings fluctuate wildly on her monitors. She'd been trying to establish a stable quantum link between two particles while simultaneously reading the neural patterns of a human observer. The hypothesis was simple. Human consciousness might affect quantum states in ways their instruments couldn't measure. Running final test sequence for today, she spoke into her recorder. Neural interface test 2247. Time is 23:47. She should have gone home hours ago, but something about tonight's readings kept her going. The quantum field seemed more responsive than usual. The helmet felt cold against her temples as she initiated the sequence. The quantum particles spun up, their states becoming increasingly entangled. Sarah closed her eyes, focusing on the mental exercises she'd developed to maintain conscious awareness of the quantum field. Something was different this time. Instead of the usual abstract data stream, she felt present, as if her consciousness had expanded beyond her body. The quantum particles weren't just responding to observation, they were responding to her will. "Oh my God," she whispered, opening her eyes. But she wasn't just seeing through her physical eyes anymore. She could somehow perceive the quantum state directly, as if it were an extension of her own nervous system. The lab door burst open. Dr. Chen. The readings air. Her assistant, Marcus, stopped mid-sentence, staring at the instruments. "This can't be right. The quantum coherence is off the charts, but it's stable." Sarah carefully removed the helmet, her hands shaking. "Marcus, get me Director Walsh. Now." She looked at her trembling fingers with wonder. She could still feel them, but also something more, as if her consciousness had learned to extend beyond her physical form. Director Walsh arrived within the hour, despite the late-night call. His usually immaculate suit was hastily thrown on, tie slightly askew. "This better be good, Chen. You know the board's been questioning the practical applications of your research." Sarah didn't speak immediately. Instead, she walked to the quantum chamber and placed her hand on the glass. The particles inside instantly aligned, forming patterns that mimicked her neural activity. Walsh's eyes widened. "How are you doing that?" "The controls are off." "I'm not using controls," Sarah said quietly. "I'm thinking it." "Director, we've been approaching quantum mechanics all wrong. We've been trying to observe and manipulate quantum states from the outside. But consciousness itself operates on quantum principles. We're not just observers of quantum phenomena. We can become part of it." She spent the next hour demonstrating how she could control quantum states with thought alone, how her consciousness could extend through the quantum field to perceive and influence matter at a fundamental level. Walsh sat heavily in a chair, running his hands through his gray hair. "The military implications," he started, "are significant," Sarah finished. "But think bigger. Imagine a ship where the pilot doesn't just control the vessel, they become the vessel, their consciousness expanded through a quantum neural network to every system, every weapon, every sensor. Traditional interfaces become obsolete when your mind can directly connect to quantum-enabled technology." Walsh was already reaching for his phone. "Get me Admiral Harrison," he barked into the device. "Priority Alpha. Tell him it's about Project Consciousness." Sarah turned back to her instruments, but her mind was already racing ahead. This was just the beginning. Human consciousness was about to be unleashed across the quantum realm, and nothing in the universe would be quite the same again. As dawn broke over the Institute, Sarah finally allowed herself a moment of rest. In her mind, she could still feel the quantum field humming with possibility. Humanity had just taken its first step into a larger universe, and she had a feeling they weren't going to be walking alone for long. Unknown to them, light years away, The Zarkax Empire's quantum detection grid had registered an anomaly. For the first time in their 1,000-year history of monitoring primitive species, they had detected something new. A species that didn't just understand quantum mechanics, but had learned to merge with it. The High Council would need to be informed immediately. 6 months after Dr. Chen's breakthrough, the Quantum Naval Research Facility sprawled across the Nevada desert like a chrome spider. Behind layers of security and electromagnetic shielding, humanity's first quantum neural ship took shape. Commander Maya Patel stood before the sleek vessel, its hull seemingly rippling under the harsh facility lights. Unlike traditional spacecraft, the QNS Synapse had been designed from the ground up to function as an extension of human consciousness. No bridge, no control room, just a quantum neural core where a single pilot could merge their mind with the ship itself. The neural interface is ready for final testing, Dr. Chen said, approaching with a tablet in hand. The physicist had traded her lab coat for a military advisor's uniform, though she still carried herself with a researcher's careful precision. But I should warn you, Commander, the simulation data doesn't fully capture what it feels like. Maya nodded, hiding her apprehension. She'd been chosen from thousands of candidates for her unique combination of spatial awareness, mental discipline, and adaptability. How many times have you merged with the test apparatus now, Doctor? 47 times, Sarah replied, leading Maya toward the preparation room. Each time it gets easier, but that first moment, it's like being born again. Your consciousness expands beyond anything human evolution prepared us for. The preparation room looked more like a meditation chamber than a military facility. Soft lighting, curved walls, and in the center, a single reclined chair with a neural interface helmet. Maya sat down, her heart racing despite years of fighter pilot training. Remember, Sarah said, adjusting the helmet, don't fight the expansion. Let your consciousness flow naturally through the quantum pathways. The ship is designed to become an extension of your nervous system. Maya closed her eyes as the interface activated. For a moment, nothing happened except the familiar hum of quantum computers. Then reality shattered. She was everywhere at once. Every circuit, every quantum sensor, every molecule of the ship's hull became as familiar as her own fingers. She could feel the magnetic fields of Earth embracing the hull, taste the radiation from distant stars, dance in the quantum probability clouds that surrounded her new body of metal and energy. Holy shit, she whispered, her human voice sounding strange and distant. Quantum neural link stable. Sarah's voice came from somewhere far away. All systems showing green. How do you feel, Commander? Maya laughed, the sound echoing through the ship's internal communications. I feel infinite. She flexed her new form, marveling at how the massive ship moved with the same intuitive ease as her biological body. Thrusters fired with a thought. Sensors swept space with the casual ease of opening her eyes. Try the quantum drive, Sarah suggested. Maya reached into herself, into the ship, and activated the quantum propulsion system. Reality blurred as the ship's consciousness-directed quantum field manipulated spacetime itself. She moved across the test range in impossible ways, her thoughts translating directly into motion without the clumsy interface of mechanical controls. Remarkable. General Walsh's voice cut through her euphoria. The neural integration is far more complete than we anticipated. Commander Patel, can you access the weapon systems? Maya turned her attention to the ship's quantum weaponry. Instead of traditional armaments, the Synapse carried quantum field generators that could disrupt matter at a fundamental level. She could feel them humming with potential, ready to respond to her will. Weapons online, she reported. But sir, this is so much more than a weapons platform. I can perceive quantum states directly. I can see. She paused, focusing on an anomaly at the edge of her consciousness. There's something out there, beyond lunar orbit, some kind of quantum disturbance. In the control room, Sarah's face went pale. She turned to General Walsh. The quantum sensors were supposed to be powered down for this test. She's detecting something real. Walsh grabbed a secure phone. Get me Space Command. We need immediate verification of any anomalies beyond lunar orbit. But Maya was already reaching out with her expanded consciousness, probing the disturbance. What she found sent chills through both her human body and her quantum-enhanced awareness. "It's artificial," she reported, "and it's watching us. Some kind of quantum detection system, but the technology, it's not human." Sarah and Walsh exchanged glances. Humanity's quantum breakthrough hadn't gone unnoticed after all. The only question was, who, or what, had been watching, waiting for a species to make this evolutionary leap. In high orbit, hidden behind quantum stealth fields, a Zarkak scout ship recorded everything. The message it transmitted to the Empire's High Council was brief but decisive. They've done it. The humans have achieved quantum consciousness integration. Initiate Protocol Omega. Back on Earth, Maya maintained her quantum merger with the synapse, unaware that she represented humanity's first line of defense against a storm that had been brewing for millennia. The age of quantum consciousness had begun, and with it, humanity's greatest challenge and opportunity was about to unfold. The Zarkak's arrival shattered Earth's quiet on a Tuesday morning. Their ships materialized in perfect formation above every major city on Earth, 30 crystalline vessels that seemed to bend light around their edges. Before any government could react, every screen on the planet flickered to life with their message. First Speaker Votel stood before the United Nations Security Council, his holographic form towering over the assembled representatives. His crystalline exoskeleton reflected light in hypnotic patterns, 4 eyes blinking in unsettling asynchronous rhythm. Humanity. The translation matrix rendered his harmonic speech into flat English. You have achieved what only 3 species before you have managed: quantum consciousness integration. This advancement requires supervision. In the Quantum Naval Research Facility, Commander Maya Patil merged with the QNS synapse, her consciousness expanding through quantum space. Something felt different about the alien ships. They resonated with a familiar quantum signature, but distorted, wrong somehow. "They're using quantum technology," she reported to General Walsh. "But it's rigid, structured. They're not merging with it. They're forcing it into predetermined patterns." Dr. Chen analyzed the readings from Maya's quantum sensors. It's like they discovered quantum consciousness, but are afraid to fully embrace it. They're trying to control it rather than become one with it. The first speaker continued his address. "The Zarkak's empire has maintained quantum stability in this galaxy for 10,000 years. Your unstructured approach to quantum consciousness threatens that stability. You will submit to our guidance, or your species will be contained." President Helena Rodriguez stood before the Security Council, her voice steady despite the threat hanging over humanity. "And if we refuse this guidance?" The first speaker's crystalline form shimmed with what might have been amusement. "Observe." One of their ships fired a quantum beam at an uninhabited island in the Pacific. The island didn't explode. It simply ceased to exist, its quantum structure unraveled at a fundamental level. In the synapse, Maya felt the disturbance like a scream across quantum space, but she also felt something else, a fundamental flaw in their approach. The Zarkaks were using quantum technology like a cudgel, forcing reality to bend to their will. But that's not how quantum mechanics truly worked. Reality wasn't something to be controlled. It was something to be danced with. "Dr. Chen," Maya called through the quantum link, "I think I know why they're so afraid of our approach. When I'm merged with the synapse, I don't just control quantum states. I become them. The Zarkaks, they're trying to impose order on quantum chaos. But chaos is where the real power lies." Sarah's eyes widened as she understood. They'd spent 10,000 years trying to cage quantum mechanics in rigid structures. But you're right. The true power of quantum consciousness comes from embracing its inherent uncertainty. General Walsh looked between them. "Can we use this?" Maya flexed her quantum-enhanced awareness, feeling the subtle patterns of reality around her. "Their ships are powerful, but predictable. They can only operate within their predetermined quantum patterns. But she let her consciousness flow through quantum space. The synapses form, becoming fluid, existing in multiple states simultaneously. We can dance. Show me, Walsh ordered. Maya reached out with her quantum senses, touching one of the Zarkak's ships hovering over Nevada. Its quantum field was impressive but inflexible, like a crystal lattice. She slipped the synapse between the rigid patterns of their quantum structure, existing in the uncertainty they so feared. The alien ship's sensors couldn't track her. To them, the synapse existed everywhere and nowhere, a quantum ghost dancing through their carefully ordered reality. Their weakness is their strength, Maya reported. They've built their entire civilization on controlled quantum states. They can't handle true quantum uncertainty. It terrifies them. That's why they want to control us. We're doing what they never dared to do. In quantum space, Maya felt other human pilots linking with their ships, their consciousnesses blooming like new stars as they embraced the quantum realm fully. The Zarkak ships responded with increasing agitation, their rigid quantum fields humming with power, but unable to lock onto the fluid human vessels. First Speaker Votel's hologram flickered as he received reports of the human ship's impossible behavior. "What are you doing?" he demanded, his harmonic voice showing stress fractures. "This is not the proper way to manipulate quantum states." President Rodriguez smiled. "No, First Speaker, this is not your way. This is humanity's way. We don't seek to control quantum mechanics. We seek to become one with it. And that is what truly frightens you, isn't it?" In the quantum realm, Maya felt the truth of those words. The Zarkaks weren't evil. They were afraid. Afraid of the chaos that lay at the heart of quantum mechanics, afraid of truly merging with the uncertainty principle itself. They had spent millennia building walls between consciousness and quantum reality, while humanity had torn down those walls completely. The stage was set for a confrontation between two fundamentally different approaches to quantum consciousness. But Maya, dancing through probability waves in her quantum-enhanced form, knew that the real battle wouldn't be won with weapons. It would be won by showing the Zarkaks that their greatest fear could become their greatest strength, if only they dared to embrace it. The Zarkak strike fleet emerged from quantum space like a crystalline thunderstorm. 500 ships, each one a masterpiece of controlled quantum engineering, arranged in perfect geometric formations above Earth. Their quantum weapons thrummed with enough power to unravel continents. But Commander Maya Patel, merged with the QNS synapse, saw something different. Through her quantum-enhanced consciousness, she perceived the fleet's rigid quantum lattice as a framework of fear, beautiful, powerful, but ultimately fragile. All quantum neural ships. This is Commander Patel. She broadcasted through the quantum link that connected Earth's small fleet of 30 vessels. Remember your training. Don't fight their patterns. Dance between them. Exist in the uncertainties they try to eliminate. The human fleet responded by doing something the Zarkaks had never seen in 10,000 years of quantum warfare. They stopped existing as definite points in space-time. Each ship's quantum field blossomed into a cloud of possibilities, their human pilots embracing Heisenberg's uncertainty principle as naturally as breathing. High Admiral Zirak of the Zarkak's fleet watched in horror as his targeting systems failed completely. Impossible. Their quantum signatures are everywhere. This violates all established protocols of quantum manipulation. Maya led her fleet in an impossible dance through the Zarkak's formation. The alien ships fired their quantum disruptors, but their weapons were designed to unravel specific quantum states. The human vessels existed in all states simultaneously, flowing through probability waves like fish through water. "They're trying to pin us down." Lieutenant Sarah Chen's voice came through the quantum link. The physicist-turned-pilot had merged with her own ship, the QNS Planck. Their whole strategy depends on forcing quantum collapse into predictable patterns. "Then let's show them what happens when you embrace the chaos," Maya responded. She reached out with her quantum consciousness, touching the rigid quantum fields of the Zarkak ships. Where their fields tried to impose order, she introduced uncertainty. Where they sought to control, she invited chaos. The effect was immediate and stunning. Zarkak's ships began to shudder as their carefully maintained quantum states fluctuated. Some of their crews, connected to their own version of quantum technology, experienced something they'd been taught was impossible: direct contact with uncontrolled quantum consciousness. Status report. High Admiral Zirak demanded as his fleet's formation began to break down. "Admiral, the humans. They're not attacking our ships directly," his quantum specialist reported, crystal appendages trembling. They're teaching them to dance." Maya felt it happening. Every time the synapse brushed against a Zarkak's quantum field, some of their crew felt what true quantum consciousness was like. Not the rigid, controlled version they'd been trained in, but the wild, free-flowing merger of mind and quantum reality that humanity had embraced. "Their ships are starting to resonate with us," Sarah reported excitedly. "Some of their crew are beginning to understand. They're feeling the quantum realm as it really is for the first time." Through the quantum link, Maya sensed confusion spreading through the Zarkak's fleet. Their rigid quantum patterns were starting to shift, influenced by the human ship's fluid approach. Some Zarkak's crews were actively fighting the change, trying to maintain their structured systems. Others, younger ones perhaps, were cautiously exploring this new way of experiencing quantum reality. High Admiral Zirak felt it too, a whisper of something vast and beautiful beyond the crystal walls of Zarkak's quantum doctrine. "All ships maintain quantum coherence. Do not let them corrupt our patterns." But it was too late. The infection of ideas had begun. Ship by ship, the rigid quantum lattice of the Zarkak's fleet began to show cracks, not from weapons, but from the irresistible pull of a more natural way of joining with quantum reality. "They're starting to understand," Maya transmitted to Earth Command. "This isn't a battle of weapons. It's a battle of philosophies, and their younger generation is already choosing sides." Aboard the Zarkak's flagship, a junior quantum specialist named Tyrell made a decision that would change the course of two civilizations. Instead of fighting the strange resonance from the human ships, she opened herself to it fully. Her consciousness exploded into quantum space, freed from the crystal cage of Zarkak's protocols. Her cry of joy and terror echoed through the quantum link, touching both human and Zarkak's minds. The patterns, they're not meant to be walls. They're meant to be doorways. The battle for Earth wasn't being fought with quantum weapons after all. It was being fought with ideas, with experiences, with the fundamental question of how to relate to the quantum realm itself. And as Maya watched through her quantum-enhanced senses, she realized that some victories don't come through destruction, but through transformation. The rigid crystal lattice of Zarkak's quantum technology was beginning to flow like water. And with it, 10,000 years of fear was starting to melt away. The quantum realm above Earth had become a symphony of chaos and order, as hundreds of ships from two civilizations danced between states of being. The rigid formations of the Zarkak's fleet had dissolved into flowing patterns that mirrored the human ship's fluid movements. It was no longer clear where one fleet ended and the other began. Commander Maya Patel, still merged with the QNS synapse, felt the change rippling through quantum space. Young Zarkak's quantum specialists like Tyrell were teaching their elders something revolutionary, that their species' greatest fear had been their greatest limitation. First speaker Votel's crystalline form appeared in quantum space, his consciousness tentatively reaching out beyond the strict protocols that had governed Zarkak's quantum interaction for millennia. "This is unprecedented. Our entire civilization is built on controlling quantum uncertainty. And yet you feel it, don't you?" Maya projected through the quantum link. "The power that comes from surrendering control. From becoming one with quantum reality instead of trying to cage it." High Admiral Zirak's flagship hung motionless in space as more of his crew experimented with human-style quantum consciousness. "Our ancestors implemented the protocols after the quantum schisms," he admitted. They saw how quantum consciousness could fragment a species, turn them against themselves. The rigid patterns were meant to protect us. Through the quantum link, Dr. Sarah Chen shared humanity's perspective. But consciousness itself isn't rigid. It's fluid, adaptive. By trying to control quantum reality absolutely, you've been fighting against the very nature of consciousness. Tyrrell, now fully embraced in the new quantum awareness, reached out to both fleets. In quantum space, her consciousness shimmered with possibilities. We don't need to choose between chaos and order, she projected. Look at what's happening now. We're finding harmony between them. She was right. The quantum fields of both fleets had begun to resonate in new ways, creating patterns that were neither purely ordered nor purely chaotic. Human intuition and creativity merged with Zarkak's precision and experience, forming something entirely new. President Rodriguez, watching from Earth through quantum feeds, recognized the moment's historical significance. First Speaker Votel, perhaps it's time we discussed a different kind of relationship between our peoples. The Zarkak's leader's quantum signature fluctuated with unfamiliar emotions. For 10,000 years, we have been the guardians of quantum stability in this galaxy. We thought that meant preventing change. Now I see, perhaps our role should be to guide change, not prevent it. Maya felt a surge of new connections forming through quantum space as more Zarkak's crews embraced the fluid approach to quantum consciousness. Their ships began to move in ways their builders had never intended, existing in multiple states while maintaining their crystalline integrity. Your people have much to teach us about quantum control and precision, Maya offered, and perhaps we can help you rediscover the joy of quantum uncertainty. The next few hours saw an unprecedented exchange of knowledge through the quantum link. Zarkak's quantum specialists shared centuries of accumulated wisdom about quantum mechanics, while human pilots demonstrated their intuitive approach to quantum consciousness integration. Dr. Chen, analyzing the quantum patterns through her ship's sensors, made an exciting discovery. The combination of our approaches is creating quantum harmonics we've never seen before. The potential applications are enormous. First Speaker Votel, his own consciousness now flowing more freely through quantum space, made a formal declaration. The Zarkak's empire hereby recognizes humanity as equals in quantum mastery. We propose an alliance, not of control, but of mutual growth. President Rodriguez's response was equally historic. Earth accepts, with the hope that our species can grow together in understanding both quantum mechanics and ourselves. As the sun rose over Earth, the combined fleet arranged itself in a new formation. Not the rigid geometric patterns of the Zarkaks, nor the fluid chaos of human ships, but a flowing crystal lattice that seemed to pulse with life and possibility. Commander Maya Patel, preparing to disengage from the synapse after the longest quantum merge in human history, felt a deep satisfaction. Humanity had faced its greatest challenge not with weapons, but with understanding. They had turned potential destroyers into allies by showing them a new way to see themselves. In quantum space, human and Zarkak's consciousness continued to dance together, writing the first chapter of a new age of exploration and discovery. The rigid patterns of the past were dissolving, replaced by something far more powerful, the harmony of order and chaos, precision and intuition, control and surrender. The quantum revolution had begun, and it would transform not just Earth or the Zarkak's empire, but the entire galaxy. As Maya finally returned to her human form, she smiled at the thought that sometimes the greatest victories come not from defeating an enemy, but from helping them evolve. The stars seemed brighter that night, shining with new possibility. Humanity had taken its place among the quantum civilizations of the galaxy not through force of arms, but through the courage to embrace uncertainty itself. It was just the beginning of an adventure that would span centuries and transform both species in ways neither could yet imagine.